Miami, 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 Miami. It feel like Miami.
Welcome to the Miami Heat Beat Postgame Show. That deep sigh that my co-host here, Siobhan, gave is a big mood.
Man.
Giancarlo Navas and Siobhan's here with me today.
What's up? Great game, beautiful gowns.
That was one of the fourth quarters of all time, and we could start there. I mean, Bon, we could just get right into it. Miami scores 27 points in the fourth quarter, which is good. That's a win for this team.
For this
problem is it gave up 38 to Milwaukee, and Dame was insane. Middleton, I mean, they hit a couple. I think early in the quarter they hit a banked three from the left side, which was like, oh my god. On the right, on the other side, Milwaukee got a three. I think it might have been Beasley who got a three off. Just like terrible offense that Miami just totally, like, their defense just broke down. They got an open three, and then Middleton hit that really silly one after Bam got the block on Lillard. And I mean, that's 9 points right there. You got outscored by 11. You hold on.
Giannis takes that shitty one. We don't rebound. Lillard gets it, puts that in. Oh, that hurt my heart.
That one. I mean, it was a lot of like little things that added up. And then there were like other things, like obviously the tech on Spo, the take foul free throw earlier in the game. And it all kind of did it. I mean, Bon, I guess their offense looked good. Milwaukee's defense is obviously not very good this year, and we can get into some of that. But Miami had a lot of success getting threes off without much penetration, which is kind of great for them because they're bad at penetration and they love to take threes because, what's better than not having to do what you're bad at. And I thought that carried them throughout the game. Game got a little tighter. They started running a lot out of the post, which I normally don't like, but I did not mind today. Bam had, I think, a good fourth quarter, not a great one. I don't think he hit like one field goal early and then didn't hit another one until like a minute and a half left in the game. What do you make of what they did in the fourth today? Because this was a great game.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we always have some slippage. Either on one side of the ball, we either completely forget our offensive process that got us, in a good spot 1 through 3, or getting torched by Chris Middleton in 2023 is depressing. I don't know. You guys are hard on Chris. He still has a lot, to me at least, to his game. But today, like you said, there was, kind of some defensive slippage. We let like a lot of stuff kind of get in the lane. We let up on some penetration and some dishes. I thought that there were a couple of moments where the Brook Giannis tandem, they got like an empty side one time and Kevin had to show, and then you have the big to big high low with a completely empty right side, stuff like that. I just, I don't know. I don't really know kind of what exactly to make of it, other than it kind of just happened, and these are things we got to clean up. We have to, a defensive possession isn't complete until you get the rebound. And, like I just said, that one, like Giannis took a crazy shot. I don't know what possessed him to take that three in that moment where he did, but then, you don't get the board, and the best time to shoot a three, one of the best times to shoot a three is off of an offensive rebound. And so I think we just got to finish possessions. There were some dribble penetration stuff. So we have like Kyle chasing over the top, and he's trying and he's doing his best, but he's behind the play. And so now we already got Dame kind of into the teeth of the defense, and then it's kind of just picking your poisons from there a bit. Malik Beasley tried to shit out the ball. I think there's just stuff on the defensive side and in a lot of different areas that we got to tighten up, because this is the series. This is going to be, we have to get better at closing games like this out.
Miami lost a game where they shot 46% from three and made 14. Milwaukee shot 37% and made 13. that's kind of an unusual game for
Yeah,
them to
that's tough.
lose. Also, they lost a game where they had 6 turnovers and they won the 3-point differential, but they were out rebounded by 10. And I think kind of you saw that Milwaukee just does have size thing. I will say that Miami did get a lot of looks that they like. I saw someone
Yeah.
in chat earlier said Kyle got to the rim, pretty much at will, which
And,
I actually really liked
I
him in
did
pick
too.
and
That
roll.
shit shocked the hell out. Not shocked the hell, but it was so telling. I think kind of how porous Milwaukee's defense is right now.
Yeah.
They felt really stretched out and like really loose in the kind of middle belly of their defense. And like every time I looked up that Kyle had the ball in his hands, he was getting a corner past someone and just finding himself in the lane.
He and Jaime, and again, Miami ran a lot of offense through the post today. Basically, when Jaime got the ball in the post, and we'll get into him more a little bit later, good stuff happened. Bam. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Bam post ups, and I'm very curious tomorrow when the numbers come out for kind of Bam's post up offense. But it looked really good. I mean, he was getting guys under the basket, he was getting passes and stuff like that. But Kyle in pick and roll was effective. I think Caleb off his cuts was effective. Josh
Yeah.
in pick and roll was effective. I mean, they didn't do it a lot, which I thought they should have done it a little bit more, but they were able to get what they wanted against a Bucks defense. Milwaukee, like Portis comes out like to trap sometimes, and I think that's weird. Sometimes Lopez traps, and Bon, it's just such a far cry from where they used to be,
Yeah.
defensively. What are we
Yeah,
laughing
no,
at? What's that thing?
oh no, I don't ever see the chat. But yeah, you calling it a far cry from what they used to be defensively. But it is. Like it's just so it's night and day from like the stoutness of the Milwaukee defense that
Yeah.
we're accustomed to seeing.
There's like a physicality that I don't think's there right now with
Yep.
them. I mean, they always made you feel them. But I do want to say this because that was a fucking great basketball game. And without Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo was aggressive, took control. Kyle Lowry does the Kyle thing where, man, we're missing 3 guys. I'm gonna score 20. I don't know where that is all the other times, but that man's like, I'm good for 20 when guys are out. And Josh stepped the hell up today. You talk about Malik Beasley shot the hell out the ball. Josh shot the hell out the ball. Kyle shot the hell out the ball. Duncan, after a rough start, shot 42%, 3 for 7. Shot the hell out the ball. Kevin Love made 2 threes. Caleb 2 for 3. I mean, they had Jaime National coming out party. They played. That was a culture game, Bond. That was like a game where that's like one of those games where you're just like, fuck yeah, man, he culture. Look at this shit.
Yeah, you feel really good about it. Like I say, they got a lot of good things, and I think you saw, in addition to some of the J Rich pick and roll stuff, I have enjoyed he and Caleb doing the cutter slashery things. I think that is, kind of, or what should be the at least in my opinion, the bread and butter kind of their usage, just out of the corners, out of the high corners, catching and ripping, getting into the lanes off of the high wings, looking for passes off of the short rows. Bam got a good one to Caleb. Caleb is a good job. Miami does a good job in general with their guards, and they're kind of small forwards with regards to like cutting behind the defense. I thought we got a lot of good stuff in that, and I think you just feel good. Like Milwaukee had to, kind of take that from them, and we helped give it to them, but we're still without, like you said, without Jimmy, without Tyler, and I think macro, we feel good about this, or at least I feel good about it, even still very much so wanting that win. And shout out to I want to give a little special love to Josh on the shooting today. I Not that it's unexpected for me, but that's an area of his game for me that I want to see him continue to work at and keep as consistent as possible. I think if he stays a legitimate shot threat his athleticism, I think that's really cool for them.
Bon, the thing I want to shout out for Josh as well, in addition to the shooting, is 7 assists, no turnovers. That,
Yeah.
especially on a night where Kyle got into a little bit of foul trouble, he had to take a little bit more point guard responsibilities. And I thought that what he was doing off creation was really big.
Yep.
Alpha always makes fun of him. Like, I don't want that guy dribbling, but I want to give a special kind of shout out to him. Let's get into Bam. And because you said that you wanted it, I mean, Spo wanted it. Bam played 42 minutes in a regular season game. And Bam was like fucking into it, bro. That guy, massive dog in him, was fighting for Giannis' position all night. That looks exhausting. There was a play in the fourth quarter where Giannis and Lillard ran a pick and roll, which just straight up might be the scariest play in the league right now. And Bam somehow defended both of them. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like faked drop back to cover the roll. And then, like, when Lillard goes to pull up, he like fucking teleports forward and is on in Lillard's jersey. I mean, he was just sensational on defense, guarding literally 1 through 5. And on offense, I said, running stuff through the post, backing guys out. The jumper was working today. They were playing so fast today. And I don't know if this is like a no Jimmy thing, but they were moving. And he looks, I got to be honest, Bond, he was having fun. That's like the happiest I've seen that guy in a long time. He was living it up. And I'm really glad that the country got to see, like, this is the kind of guy that he's been this year. And I thought, like, this was like kind of a culmination game of that, where you just saw it, like, just a fucking menace on the boards, was just fighting. He had finished with 31, 10, 5 assists, shot 48% from the field, 13 for 27. I mean, he's great, man.
Yeah, like you said, kind of a culmination. It's like the summoning of all of the Bam powers, of all of the little pieces and flashes of things that we've seen over the last, 2-3 years or whatever. And kind of it all coming together in this moment of, this season. And it might be some of the Jimmy absence stuff. I did feel like that they wanted to kind of push pace. You had Caleb pushing, you had Jaime looking to push, Josh looking to push, Bam bringing it up quick. Kevin Kyle,
Lowry.
Yep, with the hit ahead. So, I think that there's some of that too. But yeah, Bam's steadily improved, every season that he's been in the league. And I don't know that this season feels so much of a skill set type of jump to me, more than it just feels like everything that, like I said, we've kind of seen him be able to do coming together.
Mentality came together.
It is a market shift in his mentality. Alex said it, Moose said it in the group chat. It's his decisiveness. He's not hesitant with things, and even the little fadeaway, the fall away jumpers that a lot of people don't like, he's getting into those actions decisively. He's giving you the dream shake, he's giving you a shimmy. His footwork is good on the fall away, and the finesse of his shot is just kind of, it is what it is for me. I've been such appreciative of his patience in the post this season. I've thought that a lot of it prior to his hurriedness, his rushness in those areas, for me, has felt like it's come from a little bit of a lack of trust in himself. I don't know, be it his skill set or just kind of his own kind of capabilities in there, but there's been times in the past where he just feels a little hurried down low. And throughout the whole course of this season, it's felt the complete opposite of that to me. And I think that increases his free throw attempts, and it increases the kind of collapsibility of the defense on him. Now you have to send a double maybe more than you would have liked, because he's going to hold the ball. He's going to command kind of more time and attention. And so I'm just really, really happy for him and how it all has come together. And I have loved him playing a drop much more this season. The play that you talked about, like being able to like stunt at the short roller, but still kind of contain and come back to the ball handler. You don't get that out of a switch. You don't get that out of, those really, really high traps and things like that. But he's so good in space defensively that he's able to command his box in the drop really well and defend between the two. So I'm just really happy for him. And like you said, I'm happy he got to, put that on the big screen on a national game.
And like he's just doing everything, right? Because as we talked about the drop, but also that possession where he switched on to Lillard, stayed on him and blocked him out of bounds. Like that's
out.
No, and if that's not a block, probably a miss. Like it's a really tough shot, leaning to his right. Like it's just a difficult shot with that much size on you. And again, that was off a switch, and then we kind of saw him success in the drop, and Miami played a zone at times today when Bam sat. I mean, Bam barely sat, playing 42 minutes, but that's just kind of the guy he's been all year, and kind of put it together. I saw a couple things in chat that I agreed with. One of them was Calais, you said we haven't had a post-game interview where he says I have to be more aggressive this season. And that's true, because that has not been the issue, right? It has not, and I'm very happy about that. And I saw that Jack Weird Alpha in the chat said, he was doing this stuff with Jimmy in the lineup, which is the most encouraging thing, because he usually defers to Jimmy in the fourth. And that's the kind of stuff that you need him to progress, because eventually, like, he's going to be the guy with the keys. Jimmy's, we don't know what that's going to look like. And tonight was a nice look at what that could look like, right? And I think tonight kind of shows you why I always believed in Lowry as a good point guard for him, because when Kyle had a willingness to shoot, it opens the game for him, and he is a good passer, and he's a creative guy. And I like their synergy, especially this year. I think this year they have really kind of developed a pick and roll chemistry together. And Bam does this thing, Bond, where you remember before when Bam would kind of get stuck on a play at the elbow or whatever, or the high post, he would look for the handoff.
Yeah.
Now he's trying to get the ball to a guard to repost.
Yeah.
Like he's like bringing the guy so he can kind of get position again. And that's like such a huge mentality shift for him that he's not, because the other thing I noticed, Bond, is they don't open games and quarters with running a dunk in action, which I just think helps everybody, that they're not forcing that. Like, that's not like the first play of the game anymore, or the first play of the quarter. They're playing within a flow, and I think it allows Bam to play in a flow. So love what he's given. Let's hit Jaquez real quick, and then maybe we'll spend a little bit of time on Caleb. Go ahead.
One thing with Kyle, and I've been more than content with Kyle to start the season. I understand people wanting upgrades and all of these things in here and there.
You've been very fair.
And, all of that. I've been really appreciative of Kyle this season, and I agree with you that the he and Bam pick and roll synergy has feel like it's grown and has taken steps. But from the beginning, Kyle was always the one who would force Bam into reposts. Like, I love that you highlighted that he's welcoming it now, and he's seeing something. He's either seeing something now that he didn't before, or again, he just has a confidence that he didn't before. But Kyle is always one to Bam, kick it out. No, get back, repost, see what you have, and then we'll kind of play off of that. And from the beginning, I've liked that Kyle would make Bam accountable in that way, because he's the only one. Jimmy will move it. Duncan is his handoff partner, so Duncan's gonna more times out of not shoot it, and so that's taking some of that off of him. I appreciate Kyle keeping Bam accountable to himself, and therefore the rest of the team with things like that.
And they're not doing so much handoff stuff. I mean, Duncan now is just straight up a pick and roll partner for Bam. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention Duncan shaking Giannis to Orlando, bro. He hit that man, because with Drew, it was like shoulder down, like get out the way. With Giannis, that man hit him with the crossover. Giannis was like, oh, I could not believe that, Siobhan.
Duncan shook the shit out of Giannis. Jaime shook the shit out of Giannis the one time. I was like, oh my gosh.
Jaime got so open, he got shook, and then had to give the ball up. Because you're just like, whoa, I didn't expect it. Man, I'm so happy for Dunk. And, he just runs pick and roll. I mean, I think Duncan is, naturally Bam's best pick and roll partner, because, man, Duncan had that pocket pass, I think in the third or the second quarter. No, the second quarter. That shit was a beaut. It was one of those possessions where Portis and Lopez kind of step up, and he saw that, whipped a beautiful ball, Bam with the slip. And I was like, man, he's just so good at that. And he's shaking off bad starts very frequently. And I'm very happy to see that at a Dunk. And I know that he was killing himself. I saw a Brady Hawk tweet that after the turnover, which was a bad turnover, late in the fourth quarter, he was killing himself on the bench. Jimmy went over to talk to him. So I'm glad that he's kind of shaking that stuff off. Let's get into Jaime, because national coming out performance for Jaquez, your son. He
Love him.
he's such a Heat guy, man. And I love how Reggie said it. I love how Shaq said it. The broadcast was great today, by the way. Shout out to Reggie and
Yeah,
Shaq and the Go
yeah.
Kevin Harlan, because it was fucking
It was
fantastic.
fun. It
Yeah, it
was
was a great
fun.
broadcast. But Bond again, he was like plus a lot for most of the game. Milwaukee didn't really have an answer for, and it wasn't just like, oh, Hawk is in the post. He's doing all the little in between things that a connector does. He's like slipping off the cut, getting that little lay in. He's getting the offensive rebound off the miss. He's kind of being that post passer that, is kind of giving the guy and then one pass away type deal. He's doing, and I love that the broadcast highlighted, like a guy would make a three and they'll be like, Josh will make a three, and who was it off of? It was off of Hyman's, because it's true. And he was that kind of trigger and connector for them. And I don't think he had like a huge scoring night for them, but he affected the game. He had 14, 4, and 6. The 6 assists is crazy. But he affected the game so much.
Yeah. So the playmaking out of the post, and it feels like, more and more every game he has the ball in his hands to kind of initiate out front a bit. They were running like double drags for him to kind of come off and, probe a little bit and survey in the middle third of the court. And he is doing a lot of the, connectory things for them. And it's just, I don't know. The last show I hosted, I was like, damn, make one of the bullet points. Like, is this too much love for him? Because I feel like we're consistently talking about him, but you have to. You'd be
he's earned it.
Not to. He's earned every minute of it. And you said it. He's a Heat guy, and I tweeted it. He's a Heat guy through and through. The patience, the poise, the size, the body, the willingness to work, the discipline, the mentality, the approach to the game. He's never in the wrong spot. Like, I have not, I'll take it back. The one thing I didn't like that he did this game, I think it was in the fourth, Bam had a mismatch, and Jaime ended up with Giannis cross matched on him. Jaime gave it to Bam, but he cut like really close to Bam. And then so that got the double, and then Bam was able to pass back out of it, and then they switched back. And then we lost the advantage there. Other than that,
a couple guys did that. Duncan had one too. Bam scored on it, but there was a cut that Duncan made. I was like, why are you bringing the dude?
But
they had a few of those.
What I do appreciate is I feel like that's happened less this season than it has traditionally. We talk about it all the time. Like, Jimmy would sit in that man's lap. He just cuts and stays. I'm like, oh my gosh, if you do not get out of the way. But yeah, just I don't know, man. Just really, honestly, everything. He's not sped up. He's not rushed, but he's always in control. He recognizes his limitations, but knows that he can kind of overcome them with his fundamentals. That the up fake on Chris, just a smooth up, a perfect up fake baseline.
The pass fakes too. The pass fakes are really like him. He had one under the basket. It was like a half. The one on the fast break where he does like almost like a half pass fake, and he froze the defender for 1 second, and he goes. I was like, man, that's impressive.
Pass fakes are so underrated. You can open up so much with just
that's point guard shit too. You know what I mean? Like, that's guard skill.
He can do so much for them, and he just makes you have to keep him on the floor, whether he's scoring a lot or not. He just fills the game in all of these different ways. He moves so well on the floor too. He knows how to. Nakai's had a tweet. He knows how to cut and take his with a guy, or like take his with him to get someone else open. Understanding who he has next to him and how he's being played versus how the guy next to him, who is a couple passes away, is being played. He's so cerebral.
They knew, man. They knew when they drafted him.
They got this. This is one of my favorite Heat draft picks.
He just embodies what they want to do.
Perfect to a T. There was, people were talking about Cam Whitmore. Moose has been yelling in our ears all the time about AirPods. And there were all these other guys who were probably shinier and jump off the page more, but they
are talented too. Like, in their own right.
Yeah, incredibly talented. but they got the guy that fits exactly the way that they want to play and the things that they want to do.
Position of need.
Yeah, and you really can't overstate it. Though just the fit, it's the perfect fit. There hasn't been a learning curve. There hasn't been a having to mesh this guy into the way that we want. It is a seamless fit.
Sorry, just people.
What?
Chat's ridiculous.
What?
Jack, no. But yeah, so
What did Jack say?
I'm just saying Nalgas is crazy. I mean, just come on. Bon and I are like having real basketball talk. We're just moving over here.
Who that is.
That means butt cheek in Spanish.
Oh man.
learning Spanish here on Heat Beat with Bon and G. Yeah, man, he's been sensational, and I love the mindset of all these guys. Real quick on Caleb, just you love what he gave you today. Eastern Conference filer, Caleb at stretches, right? The shooting, the cutting, the fucking finishing. And Bon, that was one thing we talked about. We said the other stuff might regress. That finishing is legit, and he has some. That's some of the prettiest finishing on the. He might have the prettiest finishing on the team. Like
he does
straight up, like they just looks nice. Like he had that one. I was like, I don't even know why he reversed. I was like, is there a need for that? But he did.
No,
and it looked
the
nice.
Fucking baseline cut where he didn't know. He didn't know. There was no. I was like,
Bon, I swear to God, I was like, did I miss something? Was there a defender there, or like did he just do it to stunt?
No.
He just did it to stunt.
Just to stunt.
He just did it. But I'm happy because I think.
Yes.
Bon, I think we talked about it after the Brooklyn game and I agreed with you that you're like, that's a game that you go off script to see what you got in some of these guys. And I think if anything positive comes from that game, it's maybe Caleb gets going a little bit, which, I mean, tonight he looked good. And I think that when they're whole, when they get Jimmy back, and we'll see what happens with Tyler, that guy in the rotation, like Caleb fills a need because he can really go from like 2 to 4 positionally. He could switch. He's another guy that can play. I mean, he could play alongside Jimmy and Jaime and Highsmith. Like they have a lot of options on defense too. I thought tonight, he was pretty big in that fourth quarter defensively because the way they matched up, they did not want Kyle on Middleton. They put Kyle on Beasley because I think Kyle's screen navigation has been like pretty good this season. And Kyle, if nothing else, that man, he has cardio. Don't ask how, he just does. And I understand that him not wanting to put on Middleton, who I think in the playoffs last season kind of cooked him. And, and I think you want to keep Josh on Dame. And I thought Josh did as good as a job you can defensively. So kind of Caleb in that lineup kind of gives you that last bit of length and size with Jaquez and Bam to kind of round out your unit, especially on a night that Jimmy can't play. And I thought that was big time. And you have no Haywood, who's obviously super missed. I don't know if this is the series for him. I think he's a little too small for the Bucks, and I would have liked to have seen, Highsmith.
That's interesting. I feel like I guess
you could put him on Middleton.
Yeah,
you could guard Chris, but I think where you want, like, I don't know, I like Caleb a little bit more because I think Caleb gives you a little bit more offense, and I think Caleb can do like, a facsimile of what he does. Because I really, what you want him for, and most of the time, is you want him to kind of be that guy to guard up because they have a lot of guys that can guard down. So if you have to choose between the guy who guards down, between he and Caleb, I think you just take the guy who can screen navigate a little better and give you more offense. Not that Haywood's not a better defender, but I think you might just take the offense. So it just feels like because I thought Love was like pretty impactful, in some minutes as well, for brutal that he can't finish a putback anymore. But I would have liked to see Haywood because I thought that element of what they were going to do with him was going to be interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree. But shout out to Caleb. Happy to see him, kind of run back into his new reality and like whatever he will be able to do as he is now.
Hot off the presses, Alf just texted me. I saw the replay. Dame traveled. I can't wait to wipe my ass with that last 2-minute report. Thank you, Alf. Thank you, Alphonse Sydney.
The travel one.
The one where they did not, where I think they called the foul on Josh.
Oh, and then Spo got the tag. Yeah. Yes, he traveled. He definitely traveled.
Yeah, they missed that one. The Spotek. Listen, I don't know. Listen. You know, we don't do ref shows on Heat Beat, and I'm not gonna do a ref show. Tough. I don't know what Spo said. Yeah. That's a tough tech.
Yeah, I don't. You can't. I don't. You can't give that. Not in that, like, not giving the flow of the game. And
after that game, I love the flow of the game. Exactly. Like that was a fucking great basketball game. And by the way,
sit back and just let it happen.
They have Indiana on Thursday. I'm sorry. Somebody in chat goes, Jack says, I watch Heat Beat on mute and sync it up with the audio of Locked On. Man, shut up. Let me do my job.
What is this accent mark over here?
I don't know, bro. Yeah. Super trippy. We got Indiana on Thursday, so you thought this was fun. You get ready for the fucking second track meet. I mean, Kyle's gonna be bones by the end of this.
We're gonna have to muck that up. I don't even know if that's Jesus. I don't know what that score looks like.
It could be 150 to 90. It could be 150 to 145.
It could be like 103 to 111.
Their defense, if tonight was an indication of what Miami could do to bad defenses, I hope that they can.
I was going to say that's the case too, because Indiana's not trying to defend nobody. We're just gonna outscore you hoes.
I saw one tweet and it says Indiana's trying to solve all their problems without scoring people, and damn it just might work.
I don't see a problem. Well, I mean, I see a problem with it, but they don't see a problem with it, and so that's the fuck they're rolling with.
I can't believe that.
One of those charts had them at, like, I don't know, let's say second highest rated offense or some shit, but like the 27th rated defense. Crazy, it's just like, look, we're just gonna lean in into what we do well and just
Indiana's
do something better than you.
Bond, they're the ultimate all vibes team. It's just like we're
gonna put the ball in the hoop.
Did you see that Atlanta Indiana game?
No.
There was one. I think the score is like 150 to 148 or something.
Because Atlanta's not trying to defend either. Them motherfuckers are some super on vibes ass people too. So like, you don't want
DeJounte and Clint, the only dudes trying to defend. Yeah. So Chad said it was 152 to 157.
Insane. Outrageous.
And it was, Bond, I'm gonna be honest with you, that was just all like, I'm hooping, you're hooping, and we're not defending. And
I don't even love to watch that.
Mutual agreement.
Yeah, you're not going to defend. I'm not. Okay.
It was an all-star game.
Yeah, just shoot the ball.
It was funny because it just felt agreed upon. But you're hosting Postgame on Thursday. That's going to be a fun game. I know you got your girl Tiff with you, Pablo on the 1s and 2s. And thank you guys for coming, after that game. I know it was a tough loss, but it was a really fun basketball game. And I thought Bon and I, there was a lot of interesting things that happened, X's and O's wise. And I'm glad that I had to talk it with one of the smartest people that I know and rock it with you guys on this wonderful Tuesday. If you're in Miami, get ready for that sweater weather. It'd be cold out. Tomorrow it's going to be cold. We take those, baby. This is what it's all about.
What is cold? Because let me tell you.
68.
Fuck you. I just drove back to Chicago.
Big outing.
I just drove back to Chicago from Virginia. It's like 19 degrees here. I was cool at home. Just had a great time sitting at the lake, just chilling.
Chat says
it was 50 today and I cried. You guys are soft. You're soft.
It might be 71 right now. That's cold. It's cold.
Charmin ultra soft.
I gotta brush my boots off. I may have to wear a scarf. Headgear. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, are the palm trees okay out there? It's be rough out there. But we love you guys. We love chat. We love you guys. We'll see you. I don't believe we're on tomorrow, Wednesday, so we'll see you all Thursday for Heat Pacers.